My parents raised my rent to fund my golden boy older brother's lavish lifestyle. Hey Reddit, I'm Evan, 25M, and today I need to vent everything here before my head explodes like a microwave with a metal spoon in it. I've been living with my parents my whole life, not because I'm a failure or a leech, okay? I'm a web developer. I have a stable income. I pay all my own bills, and I'm saving up to open my own game studio one day. Honestly, I'm pretty proud I've managed that at my age. When I turned 18, my parents started charging me $450 a month just to keep sleeping in the same ugly blue bedroom I've always hated. While my friends were shotgunning cheap beer in dorms and whining about midterms, I was already working and paying rent like an accidental adult. I was fine with it because rent where I live is 2 4-carat gold expensive, and I figured better to give money to my parents than to some stone-faced landlord. I was wrong. So, so wrong. Every problem in my life shares the same last name, Parker. Main villain, Lucas Parker, 28, my older brother. My family treats him like Jesus, and Lady Luck had a baby and named it Lucas. They call him the one with leadership potential, the gifted child, the future success of this family. I call him a walking disaster. Double standards in my house are so thick you could build a fortress with them. Examples. Lucas kicks a soccer ball indoors and shatters mom's favorite crystal vase. It's okay, sweetheart, accidents happen. I leave one water ring on the coffee table. Evan, you need to learn to respect shared property. A man has to be responsible. For 3 full hours. Lucas has dropped out of college twice, changed jobs 8 times, got fired from almost all of them, started a dozen online businesses that looked more like scams than startups. His friends call him the idea guy. I call him the catastrophe guy. But my parents? He's just finding himself. He has the entrepreneurial spirit. He just needs a little more time. Meanwhile, I pay rent on time, show up to work every day, help around the house, and I'm basically invisible. Then, about a month ago, the real storm hit. Lucas calls, sounding like he's acting in a low-budget soap opera. Dad, Marissa and I, we lost the apartment. The kids have nowhere to sleep. I don't know what to do anymore. His wife, Marissa, their 2 kids, Lily, 7 years old, and Cody, 4 years old, and a tiny Pomeranian that barks like a broken alarm clock named Momo. Turns out his latest big business project was crypto. Of course it was. And of course he lost everything. Evicted. Broke. Homeless. Didn't even let him finish the sentence before switching to savior of Lucas mode. Come live with us. Stay as long as you need. This is your home too. They didn't ask me. Didn't care what I thought. Didn't consider that I also live here. They opened the door and let the entire circus move in. And just like that, my quiet house turned into a level 5 war zone. Kids screaming, dog barking like a fire alarm with dead batteries, Marissa leaving messes like a tornado hit the living room, Lucas giving nightly entrepreneurship lectures like he's about to drop a TED Talk. And me? I just wanted to grab my laptop and walk out into the night right then and there. Lucas's kids run wild from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. without taking a single breath. They scream, they laugh, they hurl toys around like it's the Chaos Olympics. And that demon dog Momo? God, how do I even describe it? It peed in my shoes. It peed in my backpack. And once, just to reach the absolute pinnacle of disrespect, it climbed onto my bed and pissed directly on my pillow. The entire Lucas household's only response? Oh, Evan. He's just a little baby. Cut him some slack. Cut him some slack? I'd like to cut something. All right. My workspace? Gone. Obliterated. I work from home 3 days a week. I used to have an entire spare room, monitors, desk, perfect lighting, everything tidy and sacred. Now, that room is stuffed floor to ceiling with Lucas's family crap. Random boxes, suitcases, half-open cereal containers, a stroller, and stacks of his failed crypto startup paperwork scattered around like a funeral for his career. So now I'm curled up in my tiny bedroom, laptop balanced at the foot of the bed, trying to code while the kids knock every 5 minutes. Uncle Evan, can I borrow your computer just for a tiny bit of Roblox? No. Please. Go play somewhere else. That sentence has become my daily protective spell. The bathroom is always occupied. The kitchen looks like a landfill. The living room is a minefield of toys, dog hair, and the smell of toddler snacks. My stuff keeps disappearing or getting mysteriously broken. When I complain, They're just kids being kids. It was an accident, honey. Every mess in this house is an accident. Anything I do wrong is apparently treason. Then one day, Lucas switched into this bizarre, brain-dead alpha, protecting my woman mode that I still can't believe happened. I simply asked Marissa, "Hey, did you ever get the oven fixed?" Before she could even answer, Lucas came charging out of the living room like he'd been shot from a cannon. Yo, bro, my wife can handle herself. What exactly are you asking? There he is, planting himself in front of her, arms crossed, glaring at me like I just tried to flirt with his wife by asking about the toaster oven. I almost passed out from secondhand embarrassment. If dignity had a physical form, Lucas has never even been in the same room as it. And through all this chaos, guess who still pays $450 a month like clockwork? Me, Evan. How much does the Lucas family contribute? If you guessed $0, congratulations, you're terrifyingly correct. At first, I stayed quiet. I told myself they're going through a rough patch. They have little kids. I'll swallow it. I'll endure. My mom always says, family takes care of each other in hard times. Okay, fine. I tried to believe that until last week. Mom walks into my room with that classic, I'm about to ask for a favor, but pretend it's casual face. She starts twisting her wedding ring, the universal signal for, I'm about to say something that will make you lose your mind. Evan, sweetheart, now that Lucas and his family are living here, household expenses have gone way up. Food, electricity, water, everything. You know? Mom was thinking, maybe you could chip in a little extra? Just temporarily, until your brother gets back on his feet. I looked her dead in the eye and asked, so, I have to pay more, while Lucas and his whole family live here completely free? Her face darkened instantly, that look she gets when you dare speak the truth out loud. It's not free, Evan. We're family. Family helps each other. Ah, yes, that rule again. It only ever applies to me. And Lucas? He's going through a challenging phase in life. Of course he is. I asked, how much more are we talking? Probably just another $300 a month. So, $750 total. That should do it. $750 a month to sleep in a room the size of a closet, in a house full of screaming, barking, destruction, zero privacy, zero peace, zero respect. She said it like she was offering me the deal of the century. I told her, let me think about it. But inside, the volcano had already erupted. That same night at dinner, Dad jumped in too. Evan, everyone has to take responsibility. The family is struggling right now. Meanwhile, Lucas is gnawing on a chicken leg, spraying bits of food like a machine gun. Thanks for being cool about it, bro. Cool about it? My ass. And then the cherry on top of this entire dumpster fire. Mom announces like it's a royal decree. This Friday, Lucas and Marissa are going on a date night to rekindle the romance. You'll watch the kids, okay? Not a question. Not a request. Didn't check if I'm free. Just, you will babysit. I said. I already have plans. I lied, obviously. Mom immediately snapped. Plans? With who? Let me hear it. As if I 25 years old need a permission slip to have a life. I answered, I just have plans. No further explanation. No begging. No bowing. For the first time ever, I watched my mom actually choke on her words because I refused to obey. Lucas immediately jumps in, voice all chipper like we're in some perfect family sitcom. Come on, bro. Me and the wife haven't had a night out in forever. The kids adore Uncle Evan anyway. The entire family turns and stares at me in an invisible but crushing wall of expectation. Looking at those eyes, I knew I never actually had a choice. Fine. I said it like I was signing away my soul. Friday night, the night I'd been waiting months to finally play that new game, turned into final boss level. Hell. I was supposed to be sprawled on the couch, new game on the screen, snacks in hand, soaking up some rare peace and quiet. Nope. I spent 3 straight hours chasing Lily, Cody, and that tiny demonic Pomeranian Momo around the house. They zoomed like missiles, yanked stuff off shelves, banged pots, hurled Lego bricks, while I fought a migraine and counted the seconds. Lucas and Marissa said they'd be home by 10. At midnight, the door finally stumbles open. They walk in clearly wasted red faces, giggling, not a single sorry, not even a thank you, like I'm some paid babysitter. Oh, and one more thing. While I was busy wrangling the kids, Momo left a steaming present right inside my room. And yes, I stepped in it, barefoot, right before bed. An absolutely legendary way to end a perfect night. I'm starting to feel like I'm actually losing my mind. I don't know if any of you have ever been here, but I'm starting to question myself. Am I overreacting? Am I the selfish one? Or am I 100% justified in thinking this whole situation is completely fucked? I've always been the conflict avoidant type, always the one to back down, always trying to be the good son. But this time, it crossed every line. I'm so tired that every cell in my body wants to scream. Why is it always me who has to give in? While Lucas gets to live consequence free, I posted on Reddit, hoping to hear from people who've been through something similar. And then, Update 1. Hey everyone! I didn't expect the original post to blow up like this. Way more support than I ever imagined. And because life apparently loves screwing with me, everything since then has gotten even worse. If you think I'm exaggerating, trust me, I wish I was. I hesitated for days. Yeah, the situation is rotten beyond belief, but moving out is huge, rent is insane, and I'm trying to save for my game studio. Plus, leaving feels like I lost. Like my parents officially picked Lucas's side and I ran away. That feeling sucks. But then a chain of events pushed me past the breaking point. The morning after that disaster, babysitting night, I wake up, open my bedroom door, and see Marissa rummaging through my desk drawers. Not sneaking, not embarrassed, just casually, like it's her own damn drawer. I stood frozen for a few seconds before I could even speak. What are you doing? She jumps like she got caught red-handed, which she literally did. Oh, I was just looking for tape. The kids are doing crafts. She even sounded annoyed at me. I was speechless. The tape is in the kitchen drawer. It's been there for 20 years. Couldn't find it. Marissa snaps back. Full defensive mode like she's the victim in some scam expose. Before I can say another word, Lucas materializes in the doorway. The man has a sixth sense that only activates when someone threatens his wife. What's going on? Tone already aggressive, like I'm holding a knife to her throat. I just watched your wife going through my stuff, I said flat out. Lucas's face changes instantly. She said she was looking for tape. Bro, don't make a big deal out of it. I kept my voice low. This is my private space. Would you like it if I went through your things? That's different, Lucas says, throwing an arm around. Marissa, like she's made of solid gold. We're guests. Guests of your parents. In the house that I pay to live in. Lucas lets out that infuriating little smirk, the one that makes you want to yeet a keyboard at his face. Always about money with you. Some of us have real problems, bro. That was the moment I had to repeat to myself on loop. Do not hit someone dumber than you. Do not hit someone dumber than you. I walked away. Because I swear if I hadn't, this story would be on the news. That same night, I go downstairs for a snack and hear Lucas's voice. I was heading to the kitchen, but when I heard them talking, I stopped in the hallway. They had no idea I was there. And yes, I eavesdropped. Zero regrets. Evan only ever thinks about himself, Lucas is telling my parents. Helping family once in a while wouldn't kill him. Me. Only thinks about himself. Me, the walking ATM who's paid rent for 7 years while he hasn't contributed a single penny. I wanted to burst in and tear him apart right then and there. But I kept listening. My mom replies, I know, honey. Evan doesn't understand how hard it is for you with the kids. But he already agreed to pay more rent. That extra bit will really help. Wait, when the hell did I agree? I said exactly one sentence. Let me think about it. Lucas keeps going, full condescending mode. He's got all that money saved up for his stupid little game company. Meanwhile, we can't even afford new clothes for the kids. I punched the wall so hard I nearly broke my hand. Not because the wall was hard, because I was stopping myself from charging in and beating his ass. Didn't you blow everything on crypto? You goldfish-brained idiot? Lucas lowers his voice. But I still heard every single word. Lucas keeps going, dropping his voice into that fake heart-to-heart tone while straight-up slandering me. Evan's making Marissa uncomfortable. He's always lurking around the kitchen and living room. She says she doesn't feel safe when she's alone with him. I almost choked on my own breath. Me? Making her uncomfortable? She's the one who went through my drawers like a raccoon in a trash can while I've been avoiding their entire family like the plague. That blatant reality flip sent ice down my spine. I went back to my room without getting my snack. Suddenly, everything tasted bitter anyway. I lay there for hours staring at the ceiling, replaying every single thing that's happened, trying to figure out where exactly I went wrong in all this madness. The next morning, while I'm eating cereal, Mom casually drops without even looking at me. Since you already agreed to the new rent amount, I'll wait for the first payment on Friday. Okay? I opened my mouth to say I never agreed to anything. But before a word came out, Dad jumps in, beaming like I just donated a kidney to the whole family. We're so proud of you, son. Family first, right? They tag teamed me like they'd rehearsed it. I knew arguing was pointless, so I just nodded and stared into my cereal bowl like the world's saddest clown accepting his dumb prize. Then Mom drops another bomb. Oh, by the way, this weekend Lucas and Marissa are going to a wedding. They need someone to watch the kids. The whole weekend. I looked up instantly. Just Saturday afternoon to Sunday night, she adds, in the same tone people use to announce garbage pickup. I can't, I said. I have stuff to do. Your computer stuff can wait, Mom brushes off. It's just one wedding. Lucas immediately chimes in. Classic guy who's never faced consequences. Yeah, bro. Don't be selfish. You don't actually have plans. Oh, he knows my schedule now? Since when did his date calendar become my civic duty? I actually do have plans, I lied, voice perfectly steady. I promised Chris I'd help him move. Can't you reschedule? Mom presses. Nope. He already rented the truck. Mom stared at me with eyes that could melt steel. Lucas shook his head like I just spat on the family crest. Marissa muttered something under her breath that sounded a lot like typical him. I genuinely wanted to slam my head into the wall. But the real knockout punch came a few days later. I get home from work, open my bedroom door, and there's Momo chewing my $200 gaming headset to pieces. Cable shredded, earpads destroyed, mic bent like it went through a wood chipper. I bring the corpse downstairs and ask Lucas about it. He just shrugs like I complained about the weather. It's just a headset. He's still a puppy. What do you want from me? I want you to control your dog and replace what he destroys. Lucas looks at me like I asked him to sell a kidney. We don't have money for fancy headphones. If it's that important, buy a new one yourself. Or, and hear me out, bro, grow up and stop playing games all day, says the 8-year-old, who flushed his life savings down the crypto toilet. I had to use every ounce of willpower not to hurl the broken headset at his face. But the actual straw that broke everything was when I overheard Lucas talking to Mom about my savings account. They were discussing it like the money I've scraped together years of overtime. No vacations, no splurging was some kind of family communal fund. Lucas actually said, he's got a ton saved up, Mom. If he just chips in a little, we'll get through this rough patch. I froze in place. They didn't just want the extra $750 rent. They wanted my entire life savings. All of it so Lucas could keep living a consequence-free existence. That night, I went to my room, closed the door, opened my laptop, and started apartment hunting. I was done. Truly done. I had no idea how I'd afford it or where I'd go, but one thing was clearer than the sky outside. I couldn't spend one more day in this house with people who see me as a walking ATM. I didn't sleep that night. I stared at the ceiling until my eyes burned. My brain was a tornado of questions. Should I confront them? Try one last rational talk? Or just quietly pay? More for fake peace? Every option felt like painful surrender. Around 3 a.m., I grabbed my phone and texted Chris, the same friend I'd made up as an excuse earlier. We've known each other since high school. We barely hang out these days. Hey man, weird question. Know anyone looking for a roommate? I need out of my parents' place as soon as possible. I figured he was asleep. Nope. Immediate reply. Dude. Perfect timing. My current roommate just said he's moving in with his girlfriend next month. You serious? Dead serious. My parents' house has become a nightmare. Done. Let's meet tomorrow. This might actually work out. I put the phone down and for the first time in weeks managed to sleep a little. It felt like the universe finally threw me a lifeline. The next afternoon after work, I met Chris. His apartment isn't fancy, just a normal 2-bedroom in a quiet area, 20 minutes from my job. But when I stepped inside, I heard something I hadn't heard in over a month. Silence. No kids screaming, no dog barking, no Lucas and Marissa arguing about crypto, just peace. And right then I knew this was my way out. Chris told me his current roommate is moving out exactly 3 weeks from now. If I want the spot, rent is $575 plus half the utilities. That's more than the $450 I used to pay before my parents tried to jack it up, but still way cheaper than the $750 they're trying to squeeze out of me now. And most importantly, Those $575 are dollars for freedom, for silence, for not having to listen to screaming kids, barking dogs, or the entire Lucas clan's guilt trip symphony. I didn't even hesitate. I just nodded hard. Deal. I'm in. We shook on it like two soldiers sealing a prison break pact. We set a time to meet again that weekend to iron out the details. From that second on, I had exactly 3 weeks to vanish from my parents' house without triggering World War III. I knew damn well that if I announced I was moving out, they'd unleash the full arsenal: guilt, sulking, the betrayed parent performance, dramatic sighs, and finally the just send us money finale. So, I went full ninja. Operation GTFO was officially a go. First order of business: secure the money. I called the bank, changed every password, every security question, and canceled paper statements to the house. If they ever thought about touching my savings, they weren't getting a second chance. Next, the physical evacuation. I have way too much stuff to move in one trip, so it had to be stealth mode. Little by little. I started with things nobody would notice: books on the shelf, winter clothes, spare PC parts. Every morning before work, I'd sneak a bag or box into the trunk. Then on my lunch break or after work, I'd swing by Chris's place and drop it off. Luckily, his current roommate is super chill. He let me stack boxes all over the living room until he moves out. I swear, in this dumpster fire world, running into decent people feels like winning the lottery. The hardest part was keeping a straight face at home, acting like everything was normal, while inside I was screaming everything I actually thought about their bullshit. Lucas still strutted around like he owned the place, letting his kids and Momo destroy everything in sight. Speaking of that dog, I almost got busted once because of it. Momo kept following me while I carried boxes out, barking like a damn alarm. I had to keep a whole bag of dog treats just to bribe that little traitor into shutting up. I felt like I was filming an amateur heist movie. One heart attack moment: Lucas's 7-year-old Lily suddenly appeared behind me while I was hauling a box to the car like a cheap horror movie jump scare. "What's in there, Uncle Evan?" I nearly dropped dead. Turned around with the stiffest smile in history. "Just old stuff I'm donating." She lit up. "Can I see?" I shook my head. "Boring grown-up stuff, papers and books." She still pushed. "Can I help carry it?" "No can do today, kiddo. Uncle's late for work." She pouted for exactly 5 seconds, then ran off. Thank God kids have the attention span of goldfish that saved my ass. Meanwhile, my parents still wouldn't drop the rent thing. Mom brought it up every chance she got. Electricity, water, diapers for the kids, blah blah blah. Dad went with the silent treatment strategy every day. I didn't hand over the extra $300 he'd go full statue mode, hoping I'd drown in guilt. But the undisputed champion was still Lucas. One night, I was trying to watch TV to forget my life, and he sprawled on the couch like an Egyptian pharaoh, dropping life lessons. "You know, Evan, once you have a family of your own, you'll get it. Sometimes you just have to sacrifice, bro." I stared at the 8-year-old freeloader, who's never paid a cent toward this house, who flushed his money down crypto scams, lecturing me about responsibility, and just sighed. "Yeah, the crypto market is volatile. Or you just got scammed twice because you're an idiot." He puffed up, glared, then stormed upstairs like a toddler whose toy got taken away, which, honestly, isn't far off. Then came the family meeting, the kind I never asked for but always get dragged into. One night, Mom calls everyone to the living room. Me, Dad, Lucas, and Marissa. Thank God the kids were asleep, or we'd have had bonus screams of "Momo ate my Lego." During the discussion, Mom gets serious. "We need to talk about sleeping arrangements. The kids are getting bigger and need their own space. I think we should move them into Evan's room. Evan works a lot anyway. He won't mind, he can sleep in the basement." I almost laughed because I thought she was joking. The basement is a half-assed converted storage room. No windows. A folding bed so old I'm not sure if it was made before or after Abraham Lincoln. And it's right next to the laundry room, so every night you get helicopter-level washing machine noise. No way in hell. Slipped out before I could stop it. The entire room turned and stared at me like I'd just insulted something sacred. Mom frowned. "It's only temporary, honey, until Lucas and Marissa get back on their feet." Back on their feet? Those two have never been on their feet a day in their lives. They dig the hole, then expect me to crawl to the bottom so they can stand on my back. But what they don't know is that in less than 3 weeks, I'll be gone like I never existed. And then they'll have to figure out how to survive the chaos they created all by themselves. "When exactly?" I asked straight up, staring Mom right in the face. "They've already been here a whole month. and there's zero sign of anything that looks like progress toward moving out. I'm applying for jobs, Lucas snaps, all offended and helpless at the same time. Yeah, I've seen you applying for hours on the Xbox while whining about how hard life is. Enough, both of you, Mom cuts in, voice trembling like she's on a soap opera stage. Evan, if you just. No. I shut it down before she could pull the waterworks routine. I pay rent for this room. I'm not moving to the basement. I'm not giving it up for Lucas's kids. End of discussion. Done. The whole room froze like someone hit pause. Dad stared at his shoes, looking like he was mentally calculating the electric bill. Mom's eyes instantly welled up the classic tears, instead of arguments move. Lucas just stood there, glaring, like I'd just punted Momo across the room, tempting as that was. Marissa finally speaks, voice high and tinkling like a wind chime caught in a hurricane. I think Evan is being really selfish. The kids are crammed into a tiny room while he has all this space to himself. I almost laughed. You know what's actually selfish, Marissa? Showing up with your whole family to mooch and then demanding even more space. Her mouth opened and closed like a goldfish that just realized it's out of water. Lucas shot up and got in my face. Don't talk to my wife like that. Or what? I stood up too, looking down at him from a solid head taller. I lift weights. He doesn't. His breath hitched like a bullied kid. Nothing, he muttered, stepping back. That's exactly why the kids don't even like being around you. Breaking news, because Lily and Cody literally cling to me like magnets every single day. I looked around the room, angry eyes, disappointed eyes, annoyed eyes, and in that moment, the truth hit me like a brick. These people will never change. They see me as an infinite resource, a walking ATM with legs, and they'll drain me until there's nothing left but a husk. I'm going to bed, I said, ending the pointless meeting. And to be crystal clear, I'm not moving to the basement. I'm not giving up my room. Conversation over. As I turned to leave, I heard Marissa whisper to Lucas, I told you. The problem has always been Evan, not anyone else. That night, I didn't just decide to leave. I activated the final phase. GTFO. Get the F times CK out. I texted Chris asking if I could move in early and crash on the couch until his roommate is fully gone. He replied instantly. Anytime, bro. Come whenever. No more family loyalty. For the first time in years, I put myself first. 1 week later, everything was basically ready. Lease signed, last boxes packed. I was just waiting for Chris's green light to grab my bags and bolt. I knew the storm was coming. But honestly, I didn't care anymore. I needed out. I needed my own life, away from people who only wanted me more exhausted. Update 2, hey Reddit. Thank you all. Seriously. Your comments kept me saner than a grande morning coffee. Here's what's happened since the last update. After the bedroom war incident, the vibe in the house was stretched tighter than a guitar string about to snap. My parents switched to the silent punishment treatment, which, honestly, was weirdly peaceful. Lucas stomped around like a sulky elephant denied his milk, and Marissa dropped passive-aggressive little bombs every time I walked into the kitchen. Stuff like, some people just don't understand what family means. While I was pouring coffee, I ignored it all. Top priority, finish the escape plan. This weekend, Chris texted that I can move in right now and crash in the living room. His current roommate even said, after hearing about your house, man, I feel bad for you. Life is wild, strangers are kinder than blood sometimes. Friday night, I played it super normal at dinner, even volunteered to wash dishes. The whole family looked at me like it was snowing in Miami. Mom eyed me like she was trying to spot the knife hidden in my sleeve, but I just smiled and said I got praised at work today, feeling good. They bought it. That night, once everyone was asleep, I grabbed the last essentials. Laptop, remaining clothes, toiletries, chargers, cables, hard drives, everything I'd need for the first days in the new place. All the rest I'd already smuggled out over the past weeks, like a CIA agent abandoning a hostile base. I set my alarm for 5 a.m. Perfect timing to load the car and disappear before anyone woke up. Lucas and the kids never surface before 9. Parents are usually up around 7:30. Unfortunately, I forgot one key player who could ruin the entire operation. That demon dog Momo. Alarm goes off at 5 a.m. Sharp. And Momo instantly leaps out of Lucas's room and starts barking like it's an air raid siren. And that, Reddit, is the moment I realized. My quiet escape wasn't going to be quiet at all. I slipped out of bed at 5 a.m., moving on cat feet. heart racing from both nerves and the cold morning air. I started carrying bags to the car as fast as humanly possible. And that little fur missile, Momo Early Warning System Extraordinaire, instantly lost his mind. He barked like a maniac, bouncing like I was robbing the family safe. For one terrifying second, my heart was in my throat. I thought he'd wake the entire house and Operation GTFO would explode into smoke. I immediately tossed him one of the dog treats I'd stashed for exactly this worst-case scenario. I'd planned for the dog betrayal, but the little demon swallowed it with one nom and barked even louder. Pure ingratitude. Zero loyalty. In the end, I had to scoop up the wriggling ball of fur, shove him in the bathroom, stuff another treat in his face, and lock the door. I felt a tiny pang of guilt for whoever opened that door later. But desperate times, conscience on hold, escape first. I sprinted back, loaded the car faster than I've ever moved in my life. My hands were shaking. Whether from cold or pure adrenaline, I couldn't tell. This was the morning I was leaving that house forever. I paused in my empty room for a second, staring at the bare shelves and naked walls. Weird. I'd lived in this room almost my entire life. Before everything turned to absolute shit, it used to be where I gamed, studied, laughed a little. For one brief moment, I wondered, am I doing something stupid? Will I regret this? Then from the bathroom came Momo howling like a fire alarm, followed by Lucas bellowing down the hallway. Who the hell shut up my damn dog? Nope. Zero regrets. Not even a little. I'd originally planned to leave a note, some polite lines, a short explanation. But then I realized, what's the point? I've tried talking 100 times, and nobody listened. No letter on earth works when people refuse to hear. I grabbed my keys, took one last look at the room, walked out, and drove away as the sun was just peeking up. Felt exactly like the ending of a coming-of-age movie. I half expected dramatic music, but I cranked Metallica to max and floored it. Life doesn't need a string section. Metallica is enough. I rolled up to Chris's place at 6 a.m. He was, of course, still dead asleep. I sat in the car scrolling my phone on silent because I knew in a few minutes the house would realize I was gone and my phone would explode like Chinese New Year. 7:30 a.m. Chris stumbles out, hair looking like a bird's nest, helps me haul everything inside. His apartment isn't fancy, just a regular two-bedroom, tiny kitchen, decent living room, clean bathroom, and most importantly, silence. No kids screaming, no dog barking, no Lucas whining about crypto. Just glorious silence. My new religion. Make yourself at home, Chris says, pointing at the couch. Jim's room is yours in a couple weeks. I collapsed on the sofa and slept 4 hours straight. The best sleep I've had in months, even though the couch felt like Fire Ant Central. When I woke up, I finally checked my phone. Exactly as predicted. 8 missed calls from Mom, 3 from Dad, 2 from Lucas. Shocking, he even knows my number. And a wall of texts that read like suicide notes. Mom! Evan, where are you? Mom! Are you okay? Call me right now. Mom! Why is your room completely empty? Mom! I can't believe you do this to your family. Dad! Son! Your mom is devastated. Come home so we can talk. Lucas! Wow. Real mature, bro. Just ditch the whole family. Mom. Hope you're proud of yourself. The guilt trip train arrived right on schedule. I turned the phone off again. Spent the afternoon helping Chris set up his new gaming rig. Family? Drama? Radio silence. I'll deal with it later. Around 6 p.m., I turned the phone back on and decided to call Mom. She's still my mom, after all. No matter how unfair it's been, she deserved one decent call. She picked up on the very first ring. She must have been glued to the phone all day. Evan, where are you? I moved out, I said, keeping my voice as calm as possible. I'm staying with a friend. You moved out without telling anyone? How could you do this to your family? I had to hold the phone away from my ear. She was screaming like I'd joined a cult. I tried talking to everyone multiple times, I said. Nobody listened. So I left. You didn't leave a note? You didn't say anything? Do you have any idea how worried we were? We almost called the hospitals. Classic guilt arsenal. The faint, the heart attack, the relatives asking questions. Mom, I'm 25. I don't need permission to move out. And I'm fine. It's obviously about the rent increase, right? Or the room thing? We could have talked like adults if you hadn't run away like a child. I almost laughed. I did talk, repeatedly. Everyone ignored it. It was always more. More money, more space, more sacrifice. While Lucas contributes exactly zero. Mom took a deep breath and switched to her patented emotional sermon voice. Your brother has children, Evan. And that was the exact sentence that flipped my switch. He's struggling. I feel bad for him too. But supporting his entire family is not my responsibility. I've paid rent for 7 straight years while he's never contributed a single dollar. That's not fair. And you know it. Mom fired back instantly. So fast I knew she'd had this line locked and loaded for years. Life isn't fair, Evan. Family helps each other. Right. Help goes both ways, Mom. I can't be the only one who gives while everyone else just takes. Mom started crying. That was her ultimate weapon, the one that's melted me since I was a kid. But this time I didn't budge. I've lived in that cycle way too long. I told her clearly, I'm not coming back. I've already signed the lease with Chris, and I'll come get the rest of my stuff next weekend. Mom pulled out her final card. Your father and I are so disappointed in you. I answered lightly, but every word cut back. I'm disappointed too, because you've always put Lucas above me. I hung up. Clean cut. No room for interruptions or more manipulation. That night, Lucas texted, classic style of a guy who just lost his personal ATM. Thanks for bailing. Real nice, leaving me to deal with Mom breaking down. Real man, bro. I replied. Thanks for moving your whole family in and making me pay for it. Real man, bro. Dad kept calling and texting, sometimes threats, sometimes whining we can't afford the house without your money. Sorry. When did I sign up to be everyone's second parent? Even with the drama tsunami crashing over me, I know I made the right call. The new place is quiet, the roommate is decent, and for the first time I can focus on work and my own projects without kids banging on the door, dogs destroying things, or adults screaming in my face. Cutting ties isn't easy, but it was necessary. I can't keep sacrificing my future and happiness for people who never respected me. Bottom line, I'm good right now. For the first time in forever, I actually feel hopeful. Thanks for following the saga, everyone. I know a lot of you wanted the ending, so here's the final update. Final update, it's me again. A few weeks have passed since the last post. Thank you all for riding with me, for the support, the advice, and sometimes the reality check slaps that reminded me I deserve better. I've been out of my parents' house for a few weeks now, and life is genuinely good. Living with Chris is even better than I expected. We split everything fairly, respect each other's space, nobody meddles, no drama, no yelling, no Evan, quick favor, no bro, sacrifice for the family. After years of chaos, this place feels like a mental health spa. My room is set up exactly how I want it. I can leave my laptop anywhere without Cody's peanut butter fingers smashing the keyboard. I can sleep in on weekends without Lily pounding on the door asking to borrow the iPad. I cook without someone eating the leftovers or judging how I fry an egg. Tiny things, but to me they're worth more than gold. Work is better because I'm not carrying rage to my desk anymore. I'm focused, more productive. I even restarted the game project I've been dreaming about forever. No idea if it'll go anywhere, but doing it for passion instead of being crushed by duty feels incredible. Family side, complicated. 2 weeks after I left, I went back to grab the last of my stuff. The vibe in the house was painfully awkward. Mom looked worn out, wearing the same old robe from when I was in high school. Dad shuffled around like a ghost. The house felt strangely cold, like it knew something was gone for good. Chris came with me so I wouldn't get dragged into another scene. Mom still tried pulling me into my old room. We can talk, sweetheart, she kept repeating, voice shaking, like a few words could make me change my mind. You didn't have to leave like this, I just said. I tried talking many times. You all chose not to listen. Mom burst into real tears. It hurt, even though I'd braced myself. Dad stood in the doorway, looking 10 years older than a few weeks ago. No one said come home, but it hung in the air like a boulder. I didn't say anything else. I loaded the car and left. I thought that was it, but no. One evening, Dad called, voice weird, quiet, almost humble. Son, I know there's been some misunderstanding, but we need to talk man to man. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a coffee shop near my work. Neutral, public, supposedly safe. The second I sat down, I knew I'd walked into a trap. Dad looked pale, gaunt, dark circles under his eyes like he hadn't slept in days. He took a long breath and started talking. Dad kicked off the meeting with the usual sob story: how mom was falling apart, how the house had been torn to pieces since I left. I'll admit, my heart softened a little. Mom has always been my biggest weak spot, even if I hate admitting it. But then Dad pivoted way too fast and showed his real hand. Evan, we're in financial trouble. Since you left, we're short on the mortgage this month. I just stared at him in silence. So, you're saying I still have to pay rent even though I don't live there anymore? Not rent, Dad hurried to correct, practically squirming in his chair. Just helping the family through a tough time. Until Lucas gets back on his feet. I cut him off. Dad, I moved out because the family was exploiting me financially while letting Lucas freeload. And now that I'm gone, you still want my money? It's not paying rent, he insisted. It's responsibility. It's family duty. I asked point blank. Where's Lucas's duty then? Why doesn't he step up? Dad slammed his hand on the table, finally losing it. Lucas has a family. He's struggling. He's been struggling for years, Dad, I answered, ice cold. I'm tired of hearing you two make excuses for his lifestyle. And then Dad dropped the final bomb. We need $800 this month, or we could lose the house. $800. More than when I actually lived there. I laughed right in his face. Not my proudest moment, but it was pure reflex. No, Dad, not a cent. Lucas needs to get a job. You and Mom need to stop enabling him. Dad went dead silent, like someone had sucked the life out of him. Part of me felt guilty. The rest was pure, years-built rage. The next day, Lucas broke the silence with a wall of toxic texts, long and desperate but dripping with threats. You abandoned the family when we needed you most. You're dead to me. Mom's having panic attacks because of you. If she ends up in the hospital, it's on you. Dad's about to lose his job from stress. If anything happens, I'm coming for you. The kids keep asking about you. Hope you're proud making them cry. Blocked. No second thought. Then Marissa slid in. Completely different tone. Fake sweet like cheap honey. How much the kids miss me. Lily cries for Uncle Evan every night. If they get evicted, they'll have to move to a dangerous area. Then the soft pitch. Evan could help just temporarily. For the kids' sake. I replied. Funny. When I was paying $450 a month while Lucas paid nothing, nobody cared about my finances or my future. She sent back a novel-length rant. Blocked again. They were like a hydra. Cut off one head, another grows. Block the phone, they hit Messenger. Block Messenger, they find Instagram. Lock Instagram, they rope. In mutual friends. They wouldn't stop until they squeezed another dollar out of me. A few days later, my aunt, someone I barely talked to, called. I knew instantly she was the diplomatic envoy. She said my parents were telling the entire extended family that I abandoned the family, stopped contributing to the house, and left Mom and Dad facing homelessness. Of course, they conveniently forgot to mention they charged me rent for 7 years while Lucas never paid a cent and lived like a king. But the real last straw came from a mutual friend of Dad's. My parents are not in financial trouble at all. The month before I left, Dad got a huge bonus. The whole we're short on the mortgage story was completely fabricated to guilt me into sending money. I went full no contact. Blocked every number, every email, Facebook, Instagram. Even told my job to screen unknown calls or anything from the house. And then, 2 weeks of pure heaven. I thought it was finally over. Then the flying monkeys arrived. Family, friends, distant cousins, people from Mom's church. All suddenly messaging and calling, Evan, make peace. Family is forever. How can you treat your parents like this? Your mom isn't sleeping because of you. I ignored every single one except my cousin Mark, the only person who'd had my back from the start. Mark gave me the real inside scoop. The house is a war zone now. Lucas and Marissa still aren't paying a dime. My parents finally hit their limit and gave Lucas an ultimatum. 30 days to get a job or get out. Lucas is genuinely panicking because apparently no one wants to hire a crypto expert. Then Mark dropped the biggest bomb. Mom admitted they never needed my rent money for the mortgage. The money I paid for 7 years went straight to covering Lucas's gambling debts. Gambling. With 2 little kids at home. I couldn't even laugh. Just felt ice in my veins. That was enough. Real ending. I'm fully done with my parents. Lucas and Marissa. The only thing I kept. Once a year I send birthday cards to Lily and Cody. Everything else? Cut off. Completely. About 3 months after I went full no contact, life had finally settled into a beautiful rhythm, living peacefully with Chris, deep into my game project, work going great, and my mind lighter than the first time I ever learned how to breathe. I honestly thought I'd never hear from my family again. Then one lazy Saturday afternoon, while I was testing a new build, there was a knock at the apartment door. Soft, hesitant, like the person on the other side was afraid to disturb anyone. Chris poked his head out of the living room and raised an eyebrow. Hey, Evan, I think you're going to want to see this. I walked out, and there they were. My parents standing in the hallway. Dad in an old shirt, more gray hair than I remembered. Mom clutching her purse to her chest like a life jacket, eyes red but no longer the dramatic crying I was used to. They both looked small, like the past 3 months had beaten them down. I stayed in the doorway, one hand on the frame, my invisible boundary. Mom spoke first, voice so quiet I had to lean in to hear. Evan, can you just listen to us for a few minutes? I didn't say yes, but I didn't close the door either. I stepped back a couple feet enough for them to come in, enough for me to keep my distance. They understood the signal. Dad took a deep breath, and for the first time in my life I saw him uncomfortable. Not angry, not blaming, just regretful. Evan, he said, voice rough, your mom and I were wrong. Really wrong. About everything. I stayed still. No reaction. Mom continued. I'm I'm sorry for pushing you past your limit. You carried this family way more than any son should ever have to. She wiped the corner of her eye. This wasn't performance. I could tell. The way she stood, the way she looked down, no blame shifting, no excuses. We treated you badly, she admitted, voice breaking. I kept thinking Lucas needed help because he has little kids. I forgot that you're my kid too, and you deserve to be treated fairly. A sentence I'd waited my whole life to hear. Dad looked me straight in the eye, tired but honest. I'm sorry for letting you pay rent all those years. We were wrong not to stop it. Wrong not to protect you from Lucas. And wrong for using you like a safety net. I sat down, exhaled slow. It hurt, but it felt light. Like years of weight finally sliding off. Mom kept going, voice trembling. Lucas and Marissa moved out. They're not allowed back. We're not paying his debts anymore. That's his responsibility now. I looked up, genuinely shocked. They're gone? She nodded. We had to save ourselves first. And I want you to know we never needed your money. Not for the house. I'm sorry we ever made you believe the opposite. Dad stood, took one step toward me, then stopped, respecting the invisible line I'd drawn with my eyes. Son, he said slowly, we're not asking you to move back. We're just asking for a chance to make this right. Slowly, little by little, I was quiet for a long time. Finally, I said, I forgive you both. But I'm not moving back. I'm not paying anything. That part is over. I'm still your son, but I'm also an adult with my own life. Mom nodded, eyes red but a little brighter. Just talking to us. That's enough. I let them stay another 10 minutes. No yelling, no drama, no theatrics. Just three people trying to piece together something that had been broken for a long time. When they got up to leave, Mom hesitated. If you're free some weekend, would you come for dinner? No Lucas, no Marissa. Just us, if you want. And for the first time in months, I answered honestly. We'll see. I'll think about it. Dad gave a small, tired but real smile. After they left, Chris looked at me, eyebrow raised. You good? I let out a huge breath, feeling my whole body relax after a very long war. Yeah, and this time it actually feels good. But I'm still keeping my boundaries. Chris clapped me on the shoulder. Boundaries don't mean you stop loving them. I smiled. Yeah, sometimes they mean you finally start loving them the right way. That night, I sat in front of my laptop, opened my game project, and realized for the first time in forever, I was working on it out of joy, not escape. I forgave them, but I didn't go back. I keep my boundaries to protect myself. I still love them, but I won't let them hurt me anymore. That's when I stopped and asked myself, what did I actually learn from all of this? The answer didn't come in words. It came in a rapid-fire montage, like a trailer of my own life. I saw one 8-year-old Evan, skinny as a rail, dragging a suitcase upstairs and handing mom the first $450. I saw two 1-year-old Evan working until 2 a.m., tiptoeing around so I wouldn't wake anyone. I saw two 3-year-old Evan at the kitchen table fixing Lucas's laptop because he has a family and no time. I saw two 5-year-old Evan forcing himself to believe that putting up with it is love. All these younger versions of me marched through my head, one after another, each carrying something heavy on his shoulders, head bowed, just taking it. And suddenly, I understood. It wasn't that my parents were master manipulators. It wasn't that Lucas was some unstoppable force. It was that I had trained myself to be background scenery in my own family story. I was used to yielding, used to swallowing it, used to staying quiet, used to believing I mattered less than everyone else. Turns out the first lesson wasn't about them at all. It was about me. I leaned back in the chair and let out a long breath. Weird, I thought. It took an all-out war to learn one simple truth. People will treat you exactly the way you let them. When I always said it's fine, they believed it really was fine. When I paid for everyone, they decided that's what I was supposed to do. When I stayed silent, they assumed I wasn't hurting. When I never drew a line, they stepped over where the line should have been, then stepped again, then ran. I looked down at my own palms, hands I hadn't really looked at in years. The same hands that carried me out of that house, signed a new lease, and rebuilt a life. I whispered out loud, soft but clear, "No one's coming to save you but you." I had to leave the house, let the whole family lose their minds, take the villain edit, block numbers, and listen to venomous words, all to finally claim something I never dared touch before, my own freedom. And then one more realization hit, the one that actually made my eyes burn for a second. Forgiveness isn't forgetting everything. Forgiveness is looking at my parents apologizing and not feeling rage boiling in my chest. It's saying I'll think about dinner and my heart not clenching. It's believing they're trying to change while knowing with absolute certainty that I will never walk back into that old cycle. I can love them from a distance where I'm safe. I can call them family without letting them live my life for me. I can open the door without letting anyone cross the boundaries it took me my entire youth to draw. That's real forgiveness. Forgiveness with wisdom, with limits, with self-respect. Forgiveness that isn't about giving them another chance to hurt me. It's about giving myself permission to finally be at peace. That night, I turned off the living room light and stood looking at my reflection in the window. And I understood the last thing. I didn't get stronger because I escaped them. I got stronger because I stopped escaping from myself.